And here are the top stories for the hour. The U.S. House of Representatives have rejected a bid to halt U.S. President Trump's war efforts in Iran, which had earlier proposed that Trump must require congressional authorization before continuing any hostilities. Lawmakers voted 219 to 212 against the measure, keeping President Trump's military campaign in place. Moreover, in a related development, at a House Armed Services Committee hearing, U.S. Undersecretary of Defense Elbridge Colby faced intense scrutiny from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle about the administration's strategy in Iraq. Members questioned the defined objectives, progress, and transparency of what is known as Operation Epic Fury, and asked whether clear plans exist to prevent Iran from rebuilding its military capabilities. Let's listen into their discussions.
When President Trump was running for office, he said over and over and over again, I'm not going to do wars. In fact, he very specifically said, if I'm president, we will not go to war with Iran. And here we are. So I'm genuinely curious, what changed? What changed from when he was a candidate to when he was in office that has led us to the level of conflict that we are now experiencing?
I can give you the perspective from the Department of War, which represents the direction that the President has given for the military campaign, which is specifically focused on degrading and destroying the power projection, particularly the conventional power projection capabilities of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and thus especially missile one-way attack drones capabilities and their production, as well as the naval forces of the
Representatives also debated analogies used by Undersecretary of Defense Colby to explain the administration's foreign policy approach, with some lawmakers reluctant to accept comparisons between Iran and other global situations. Let's once again listen into their comments.
Iran to Venezuela is like, I don't know, comparing Kentucky to Venezuela. It's equally valid.
I don't think it's a perfect analogy, sir, but I think I'm just making a point about in terms of the flexibility of the political objective. And of course, the president has said it's a fact, it's a historic opportunity for the Iranian people to rise up and overthrow this noxious government.
The hearing also saw broader concerns from Congress about the Trump administration's transparency and priorities, with some lawmakers accusing the executive branch of underestimating congressional oversight role in decisions that could draw the U.S. into protracted conflict. Let's listen into what Democratic Representative John Garamendi has said with this in mind.
It hasn't been clear to you yet. We're concerned that the president and his staff and minions are disrespecting the Congress of the United States, this committee, and simply going to do whatever a dictator wants to do.
And now we're being joined by Daniela Bloom, a political commentator from Los Angeles, California. Ma'am, what do you believe the plans of the Trump administration are in Iran exactly? We know that they are trying to essentially rule out any nuclear capabilities, but have there been any documents that have essentially laid out this plan? Do you have any intel on this, please?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start by saying to call out the hypocrisy of these people who report on the imbalance of when Obama did it in 2011 and did not get congressional support for Libya, there was no complaints there. And in fact, Nancy Pelosi approved it. But now when Trump is trying to do the same thing, again, he is not looking at this as a long-term war. It might be a longer-term operation, but Trump and his administration are very strategic. They like to win. So they are not going to enter into something this risky without a clear plan of action. The fact that Israel has already said today that 80% of the airspace has been cleared above Iran, making it much easier to go into specific strikes. And you have a lot of other countries who were former adversaries coming together, united against this power. It's going to be a game changer for the Middle East and Europe, and the world will be better for it.
Please stay with us, ma'am. We'll be right back with you. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has made strong remarks, warning Iran that it was making a serious miscalculation if it believed the United States could not sustain the current war. Hegseth has said that Washington has just begun its military campaign and that Iran was undervaluing U.S. resolve. Hegseth, let's hear now from Secretary Hegseth himself.
To our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight, and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces.
Bloom, political commentator, joining us live from Los Angeles, California. Ma'am, in your opinion, with these comments in mind, do you believe that Trump's administration will entirely obliterate all of Iran to the point where the images we're seeing on the screen right now of total obliteration will be the case for the entire country? And then what? Please.
I do believe that the Middle East works on peace through strength, and Hegseth and Trump are absolutely flexing their muscles. Will they have to use them? Maybe, maybe not. But their goal is not total destruction. They are practical. It's a practical administration. Of course, they are thrilled that the Iranian people will now have the freedom that they've been longing for decades. But you don't want to reveal your cards to your enemies because they are still watching. The art of the deal is an element of surprise. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is doing with the strategy.
And I'd like to ask you another question. In your experience, I'm pretty sure you might have heard the news by now that Trump essentially wants to control who the next supreme leader is. What are your thoughts on that? And what power does he have to essentially go into Iran and essentially reorganize the entire governmental structure that is there? Please.
Well, I actually heard a different quote directly from him. He wants the people to have the ruler that is in their best interest. Right now, that's very hard to do. We saw what happened with Iraq. Just because you take out the supreme leader does not necessarily mean a Democrat leader just takes over. So Trump is aware of that. And you do have to make sure that there are elections that are safe and fair where the people are represented. As much as the media wants to make him a tyrant, he really does want to empower the people of Iran. I mean, you look at his history with the Abraham Accords, things that countries that we never thought possible have joined America, Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and I think we're also very close to including Saudi Arabia. So anything is possible, and we stand with the people of Iran, and so does Trump.
Please stay with us, ma'am. We'll be right back with you.